Good morning, everyone. Today I'll be presenting my speech on the infiltration of the Mexican, South American drug cartels into Sydney. So for my introduction, on the evolution and the global reach of the Mexican cartels. So the Mexican drug cartels have evolved significantly since their early 20th century origins, growing into powerful criminal organizations primarily involved in drug trafficking. The initial formations stemmed from groups like the Guadalajara cartel under Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, which later fragmented into major fractions such as the Sinaloa cartel, the Gulf cartel, and the Zetas. These cartels have expanded beyond Mexico, infiltrating global markets, including Australia and the US. They collaborate with local crime groups like the Australian Mafia, leveraging their networks for international drug distribution. Now onto the early origins and factionalization. Formation from crime families like the Guadalajara cartel, Mexican drug cartels trace their roots to the early 20th century, with significant contributions from crime families such as the Zetas cartel. This cartel played a pivotal role in organizing and expanding the drug trade, initially focusing on marijuana and later diversifying into cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamines. Over time, internal disputes and law enforcement pressure led to the cartel's fragmentation into various factions, each vying for control over lucrative drug routes and markets. Economic underpinnings of drug trafficking. Shadow economy dynamics, production, distribution, money laundering. The drug trade operates within a complex shadow economy, generating substantial revenue through illegal production, distribution, and sale of narcotics. Key economic activities include clandestine manufacturing in regions with weak governance, smuggling across international borders, and extensive money laundering to legitimize illicit profits. Money launderers employ sophisticated techniques like depositing cash into legitimate financial systems, investing in front of businesses, and utilizing offshore accounts to obscure the origins of illicit funds. Now, the expansion into the United States. A significant rise during the 80s and 90s. Mexican drug cartels experienced exponential growth during the 80s and 90s, driven by increasing demand for drugs in the United States. The American capitalized on geographical proximity, establishing intricate distribution networks that supplied large quantities of cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamines to American cities. The US market offered significantly higher profits compared to domestic sales, motivating cartels to expand operations and establish strategic alliances with local crime organizations. Now, the Australian involvement and distribution networks, hence we're the overview of drug trafficking pathways to Australia. The journey of drugs to Australia typically involves a multi-step process. Production in countries like Colombia, where cartels dominate the cocaine trade, transportation through complex smuggling routes, negotiation by middlemen who facilitate international distribution, local distribution to Australian markets by organised crime groups, and retail sale by street-level dealers despite their influence. Mexican cartels generally operate indirectly in Australia, relying on criminal networks for distribution and sales, such as bikie gangs and crime families / organisations ran in Australia. Australian crime organisations. The overview of prominent Australian crime groups. Australia has a diverse history of organised crime, including the Griffiths Mafia, which emerged in the 70s as a prominent force in New South Wales marijuana trade. This mafia, compromising Italian families with ties to the Ndrangheta, engaged in violent turf wars and criminal activities that attracted significant law enforcement attention. Today, bikie gangs like the Hells Angels dominate Australia's criminal landscape, involved in drug trafficking, firearm offences, and organised violence, often competing with rival gangs for control over lucrative drug markets. The challenges and the impacts that drug trade and drug usage has had on society. Law enforcement challenges posed by global drug trafficking. Mexican drug cartels pose formidable challenges to law enforcement agencies worldwide due to their sophisticated operational strategies, international networks, and involvement in diverse criminal activities beyond drug trafficking. The impact on Australian society includes economic distortions, social harm from drug use, and threats to public safety. Efforts to combat these organisations require international cooperation, advanced investigative techniques, and strategies to disrupt their financial and operational infrastructure. To summarise this speech, the Mexican cartel's global evolution and impact. Mexican drug cartels have evolved into powerful transnational criminal organisations with significant global influence. Their expansion from local crime families to sophisticated cartels involved in international drug trafficking underscores the complexity of contemporary organised crime. Addressing the challenges posed by these cartels demands coordinated efforts across borders, robust law enforcement strategies, and community engagement to mitigate the societal impacts of drug trafficking and organised crime. Thank you.